Don't forget, it was all done very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I think I made over, what, 2,000 mouldings, ended up about 200 characters worth.
Right.
All in a period of, what, 6 weeks?
And
that's making the tools and
Did
everything.
you create the actual...
Yeah.
You designed him as well?
Yeah, everything.
So what...
We had 2 sketches from Ralph McQuarrie, which were concept sketches, and they were what, 2.5 inches tall, from one view of what they thought a stormtrooper was like. That.
Right.
That's all we got. We didn't get that. So that's exactly that size.
Yeah.
So that's about 2.5 inches. And there you are. Take it up from there.
That's great.
And for the TIE pilot, I got that.
Right.
A back shot. I was just going to make a back bit like that, so I made a complete character instead. And Tusken Raiders, we got a better picture of the Tusken Raiders. So those were the 3 pictures. I have a little, see that little mistake there?
Yeah.
It was a slip with a Stanley knife 30 years ago on the helmet. Look, even the edges. You don't realise until you're looking at things.
Yeah.
Do you know a painter who just had an exhibition in London, the Spanish guy Velasquez, and he's brilliant at painting light. And you get a glass, and you've got 3 brush strokes of a bit of light here, a bit of light around the rim, and a bit of light on the stem. It's perfect glass. And you're just picking up highlights, and that's what painters do, you know. All the great painters, they just pick up the highlights, and if you make your forming tools and your sculpting just to pick up the highlights, that's where it gets its form from.
So you would say that this trooper will look totally different to...
No.
Yeah.
Shape-wise, it's identical. It's just that the actual refractive index of the surface, see this glossy white material? This is acrylic. You know, perspex.
Yeah.
That's what it is on the surface.
Right.
So you're looking into a depth of gloss. That's why it looks so shiny, and it stays shiny, and the sun doesn't degrade the rubber underneath.
Right.
If the sun was allowed to hit the rubber without this acrylic capping, it'd be yellow within about 3 days.
Oh, I see. Yeah. But that wouldn't. And so is that what used to happen to the stormtroopers?
Yeah.
And so what would you do with them then?
Well, they threw them away. Right. That's why there aren't any.
You're chucking. Yeah.
In fact, everyone is a little bit different because of, you can see how you pull it off the moulds.
Yeah.
If you want to cut it out with a CNC robot, it doesn't work. The robot will only cut it in exactly the same place every time. Right. And so, like, there's other armour from America where they've remade it much simpler and taken all. This has got undercuts everywhere. Right. You know, that's what makes it look real. And you know, the light catches the corner because I've turned everything over. You see, and when the light catches everything, then it looks 3-dimensional because you're seeing all the highlights.
Right.
And that's why our armour looks the business.
Yeah.
If you get other armour, they make it just flat. They'll finish here, and the CNC machine will cut that out.
Right.
Which it can do because it doesn't have to go around hundreds and hundreds of corners.
Yeah.
So if we want it to be as near as possible to the original, you've got to do it by hand. And everyone's different, I can tell you.
It takes all day to make sort of 6 mouldings, but this is the start of the process. You blow any tiny sort of grains of sort of carpet. It's like the sort of pee through the mattress thing. Like, it just looks enormous if you get anything caught under the material. Oh, I see. It really, really shows out. It's weird. Plastic soaks up water, and if you heat up plastic with water in it, you get lots of little sort of divots in it, like tiny little divots, which is what that oven in the corner is for. You heat up all the material, which takes out all the moisture, and then you can heat it for as long as you want. So it has to be really, really hot. So this is obviously a malfunction. That's a malfunction. You keep it anyway. Yeah, because we can use those bits. But anything like that, you have to saw in half, because otherwise people will start going through the bins and stuff, and that's not ideal. Because it's Star Wars, people are just nuts. They know about it. Yeah. It's just something I've been told to do. So if someone finds one cool thing in the bin, then they're gonna start coming back. It's really nice. So you push it up. Sucking it out. years of practice, almost literally, I think.
Well, see, we're moulding now. By the time these all get set up, if you look upstairs, it accumulates into quite a lot of small components, and all the components get glued up into full limbs.
Yeah, and I don't understand why every helmet would be different, but
Because right back in the moulding process,
yeah,
because the helmets have got undercuts on them, they don't come off the moulds. You've got to spring them off the moulds and distort the helmets.
right,
And if you distort them, the plastic memory leaves it distorted, sometimes more than others.
right,
And so you get a distorted front, a distorted back, and distorted ears, and you try and fit them all together. They've got to be different every time.
right. The American ones are just
Oh, terrible.
They've got
they're
no-
just flat.
flat, and
They're flat, factory-made reproductions, but they sell them as reproductions. They don't
yeah.
disguise them and say, oh, the copies of
But
the original.
obviously the money's going to Lucas, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Lucas wins all round. He wins a lot off me as well.
Does he?
Well, he cost us so much in the litigation, because all our profits go to fighting the case.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So the lawyers win.
Yeah.
It's one and the same. Lucas just cost us. He's paranoid about anybody making claims to anything they did.
Right.
And because he's registered he's registered my designs and my characters in America as his. Because he
Right.
didn't hear from me for 30 years, so he thought I didn't exist. But it's all right, register them as yours, but it's got to be real. So now we're back in London fighting for our intellectual property rights and proving that they're ours, even though it's out of date on copyright. He shouldn't be able to register them as his. But there is a law in America where you can register other people's ideas.
Yeah.
The rest of the world you can't. England, the rest of the world, you weren't allowed to register other people's kit and call it your own since 1800.